Hello, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know who I am, my name is Shook. I make videos for NBA. I make videos for NFL. All these videos they get posted on this subreddit right here. It's called DF Sports. You can find my post with my username Shook. I make updates when we get news throughout the day. You can ask me questions about the slate. Pretty much anything you need will be on this post. That'll be linked down below. If you ever need to get a hold of me privately, you can do so on Twitter as well, or in the Reddit Messenger if you ever need me. Ever need me, that's fine. All right, so we're gonna get a video out for you guys this week. I haven't had one for the past 2 weeks. I have been doing write-ups though on Reddit, so if you are on Reddit, if I don't have a video out, there will be a write-up there as well. So yeah, let's get into this. What? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 game slate. Definitely a weird slate, in my opinion. But let's go over it. So we're just going to go team by team. I mean, I'll talk about some optimal plays when we're going over team by team. I'll go over, who I like with each stack, going team by team, the bringbacks I like with each stack, um, etc. And I'll tell you guys who I like as a stack, who are my favorite stacks, etc. So we'll just go team by team and do it that way. But before we do, if you are interested in joining my Discord, I'll have a link down below. Where I have in-depth content going over each slate, player pools for cash. I give you a core for cash, core for GPPs, whole bunch of stuff that'll be down below as well. So starting off with Arizona, I think Arizona is one of the better stacks on this slate. You have tremendous value here with Marquise Brown, Michael Wilson, Rondale Moore. I don't mind James Conner. You have Trey McBride, who looks like one of the best tight end plays on this slate. So there's just a tremendous amount of value here with Arizona in this stack. Pretty much everyone on this team is underpriced. So Kyler Murray probably going to be pretty popular, but he is one of my favorite stacks on the week. He was a core play for me last week. Nobody wanted him. And I explain this all the time. You have to want to be on plays early instead of taking a wait and see approach, right? Because by the time you've waited and seen, the edge is gone. The edge is just gone. The field's going to be all over that person. They're going to be highly owned, and the edge is gone. So what I did last week was I cored Kyler Murray. He was 2% owned, and it worked out very, very well. Got a little bit unlucky with the penalties. There was just some insane calls in this game on the field goals, but he did well for his price point last week. I think if you want to play cash games and you want to play Kyler Murray, I'm not going to talk you off him. I think there are a decent amount of cash game quarterbacks that you could consider this week, but I think he's one of the better ones. And like I said, you have Marquise Brown, who I think is a really good play. Michael Wilson's a really good play. Rondale Moore's a really good value. Now, everyone is gravitating towards Rondale Moore in tournaments. So it's actually a better spot for Michael Wilson than it is for Rondale Moore with how Houston does run their defense. So if you want to pivot to a Michael Wilson in tournaments, I think that could be a bit sharp. Now both will get some ownership, but Rondale Moore is the giga chalk right now. So I think Michael Wilson is a sharp pivot in tournaments. And then already went over McBride. I think he stands out as one of the best tight end plays on the slate. And then Connor is fine too. Now, favorite stack with Kyler, probably going to be this. And then if you want to get off McBride and go to like Michael Wilson or Rondale, that's completely fine as well. And then my favorite bring back for this stack is going to be Tank Dell. But up there, cash games, good play. Marquise Brown for cash, really, really strong. Both the values are two of the better punt wide receiver cash game plays on the slate as well. And then McBride, one of the best tight end cash plays on the slate as well. Houston. So I've been on Stroud pretty much the whole year. It's worked out great. I have no issue if you want to go back to him in a really, really good spot going up against Arizona. So I don't mind Stroud this week. I think he's solid once again. Definitely up there as one of the better stacks on this slate. We'll monitor the Noah Brown news. I don't expect him to play. So what that's going to do, that's going to make Robert Woods a pretty good value. Tank Dell already looks like one of the better plays on the slate in the mid-range. Nico Collins, I don't mind. If you want to get different off Tank Dell chalk, is definitely interesting. And then Dalton Schultz, assuming Brown is out, is going to get a bit more usage as well. So I like Stroud stacks this week. Definitely a lot to like here. If I were, oh, and then Devin Singletary looks like one of the best running back plays on the slate. Just getting a ton of usage right now, playing a ton of snaps. He looks great. So a lot to like with Houston this week as well. If I were to stack, it would probably be something like this. And then favorite bring back would probably be Marquise Brown. But I don't mind McBride either. Moving on to Dallas, don't love much here. Dak, don't really like in tournaments as a stack. Now, I really, really like Tony Pollard this week. I think the ownership, he's going to be under owned than he should be due to recent performances. Really good spot going up against Carolina. I'm expecting him to get it right here, and he's at the cheapest price he's probably going to be at all season. He is just too cheap for this spot. I really like Pollard this week, and if you're playing cash, you can absolutely go there. If you're playing tournaments, I really like Pollard. Not a fan of the wide receivers this week. Like CeeDee Lamb's always in play, but I'm not going to go to like Brandon Cooks, Michael Gallup, Ferguson. Don't like the spots. There's just not much here with Dallas. I think obviously Pollard is my favorite play there. Don't like him as a stack either. And then not the best spot here for Carolina. So Carolina is basically just a cross off for me at their price points and the matchup. So pretty quick talk there. And then this game basically kind of a cross off for me. Really, really sloggy game here. Low tempo game. Going to be low scoring. There's just not much. Not going to go to the running backs. I'm not a fan of Deontay this week. Pickens, no. There's just not much here. Not much at all. I guess we'll monitor Freiermuth, but even then, there's just not much. Basically just a cross off. Same with Cleveland too. I mean, there's just nothing. Just nothing here. The running backs, no thank you. I mean, I guess Amari Cooper's fine. I think Elijah Moore is like okay for value, but we do have the Arizona value. If you want to pivot there, that's fine, but there's just not much here. Not a fan of Njoku this week. I guess Amari Cooper's fine. Cash games, there's nothing. Just pretty overall, just a pretty gross game. And I love Justin Fields for tournaments this week. I think this game's pretty good in general. I think Fields is going a bit underowned. Really like Fields in tournaments. I think the running backs are basically a cross off for me. I think DJ Moore at 5'6" is too cheap. I like him quite a bit. Mooney has a ceiling. Don't love the other punts. And then Cole Kmet has taken on a bigger role of late. 10 targets, 8 targets, 7 targets. They will target him inside the red zone as well. So I like Cole Kmet quite a bit as a tight end play this week for tournaments. And then I like Justin Fields quite a bit as a stack. I think my favorite is probably just something like this. Pretty easy there. And then we all know who we're going to be bringing it back with. We're going to be bringing it back with Amon-Ra St. Brown. So really, really like Justin Fields this week. I think Jared Goff is really strong as well. Very easy to stack him with Amon-Ra St. Brown, just Sam Laporta. That would be my preferred stack there. Amon-Ra St. Brown looks like one of the best spin ups at wide receiver on this slate. His usage right now, and it always has been just elite. Touchdown upside as well. He looks great. Not going to mess with like JMO, Reynolds, but if you want to go there for large field tournaments, that's fine. And I think Laporta, if you want to pay up to be contrarian this week at tight end, I think is very, very interesting. And then the running backs, I mean, I don't know what to do with them. Gibbs is going to get some ownership. I would just personally feel like fading. Not a fan at their respective ownerships. And then, yeah, already went over the stack. Bring back, probably going to be more for me if I had to pick one. And then, yeah, Golf stack's definitely up there as one of my favorites this week. Not a fan of Herbert this week. I am a fan of Austin Eckler, though. We know super high floor with Eckler. Probably gets like, I don't know, 15, 16, 17 attempts on the ground. 5 targets throughout there. Just perfect running back usage. Going up against Green Bay. I think Eckler is a really, really good spend up if you want to go there. And I'm just not a fan of any of these wide receivers this week. Just not a fan at all. Not a fan of, I guess Parham's fine with Everett out. I think that's solid, but there's just not much here for the Chargers for me. And then Green Bay, I don't mind love stacks. I think they're fine. I think the guy that really stands out to me on the Packers is going to be Aaron Jones. Uptick in snaps and usage has gone up the past 2 weeks. He's a guy that's going to be involved in the passing game as well. He is just too cheap if this volume continues to happen. So really, really like Aaron Jones. I think the wide receivers are interesting in Watson and Dobbs in love stacks. And then Musgrave is fine. If I were to play Love Stacks, not one of my favorites. Probably just do like something like that, I guess. And if I were to bring it back with anyone, it would be Eckler. As far as cash stuff goes, I think Aaron Jones is really strong. The wide receivers, no thank you. I guess Jaden Reed, I don't think I can do it this week, but in the past he was playable. Tight ends, no thank you. Tennessee, I'm not going to stack Tennessee passing game at all. I think Derrick Henry is interesting going up against Jacksonville. He's an interesting pivot off the chalk in this range. Like, where is he? Brees Hall is going to be a bit popular. Aaron Jones is going to be a bit popular. I expect the Shane to get ownership. Tony Pollard's going to get some ownership. So if you want to pivot there, I think Henry's at least interesting, but the floor is pretty low with him. Wide receivers, D Hop is just there for me, just fine. Had a bad week last week. 8 targets, only had 3 catches. I just don't love anything from Tennessee right now. Chig, no thank you. There's just not much here. I think Henry, probably my favorite play. I'm not going to be stacking it though. And then another one of my favorite tournament stacks on the week. We know Tennessee is a pass funnel. We know Travis Etienne is going to be a bit popular this week. Perfect way to leverage off Etienne chalk is just playing the passing game here. I think Kirk, Ridley are values in themselves. I think they're both a bit too cheap. You have Evan Ingram, who has had 8 targets, 7 targets, 7 targets, 10 targets, 7 targets. A ton of volume here. A ton of value here. I think the whole passing game for Jacksonville is just too cheap. I know I was a fan of Trevor last week, and then San Francisco decided to be pretty good again up against the pass, but Tennessee, don't see them stopping Jacksonville this week. And ETN, I think he's going a bit overowned. I don't like the spot, getting a ton of ownership, but the volume will be there. If you want to play him, it's fine. I think if you're considering ownership, I think he's definitely a bit overowned though. And then yeah, T-Law stacks, I like just doing this, but if you don't want to do that, you could go to, I think Kirk and Ingram probably look the best point per dollar given their price points. As far as, cash stuff, ETN I think is fine. I think Kirk is really good if you want to go there, and then Ingram is strong, but I prefer McBride over him. Last set of games here, guys. Not going to be playing the Raiders this week. Not going to be playing Jacobs. Not a fan of the passing game. Pretty much just a cross off. And then Miami. I mean, Miami stacks are always in play for me. Tua is going really, really low owned. I mean, they're matchup proof. Tyreek Hill, probably one of the better wide receiver spend ups on this slate, so I don't mind that. Waddle, don't love the price, but if you're double stacking, I'd probably just do like Tyreek, Waddle, Tua. There's plenty of value to make that work. So Tua stacks are fine. But Tyreek Hill is the standout here. And as far as the running backs go, I mean, not going to do it. But I guess a Shane, if I had to pick one, kind of like the Detroit situation. Don't love anything there. As far as cash, Tyreek Hill I think is very strong. If you are spending up at wide receiver, don't love much else. All right, on to the Giants. No, just no, no, no. Saquon Barkley, I think, is interesting. We know he's going to get a ton of usage. We know he's going to be involved in the passing game. So I like Saquon for tournaments. Wide receiver just to cross off. Tight end just to cross off. Cash game stuff, there's nothing there. And then Sam Howell stacks, I actually really like. They're going to grade out as a pretty good value stack this week. Sam Howell, 6'3", I think is solid. Brian Robinson going to be one of the most popular running back plays on the slate. What you do, leverage off that, kind of like we talked about with Trevor Lawrence, just stacking Sam Howell. You have good value here, McLaurin. I think Curtis Samuel is a pretty solid value at 3.6K. Dotson's fine, but priced right. And then Logan Thomas, I think, is a pretty good value as well. So some value here. If you were to use a bring back, I don't think you need one in this stack. It would be Saquon Barkley. But yeah, I like Samuel, I like McLaurin, I like Howell stacks. If you're playing cash, I think Howell is definitely in consideration. Brian Robinson, definitely one of the better plays for cash at running back on the slate. And then Curtis Samuel, I guess, fine if you want to go there. And Logan Thomas is playable. Tampa Bay, just a cross off for me. Godwin, Evans, tight end, no. San Francisco, Brock Purdy, going to be really, really popular. Probably the highest owned quarterback stack on this slate. CMC up there as one of the best spend ups on the slate. Him, Tyreek up there. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Those guys, he looks great. Wide receiver, Ayuk, Samuel. They look similar to me at their price points. I prefer Ayuk straight up though, but both good plays if you're stacking with Purdy. And then George Kittle more blocking this year, but fine. Does need to get into the end zone to hit value. I hate playing guys that are kind of touchdown reliant, but he'll be unowned if you want to pay up a tight end to be a bit contrarian. I don't mind that, but Purdy stacks definitely one of the best this week. I kind of like just jamming that if you wanted to, and then if I were to play bring back, which I don't think you need one, would be Godwin. As far as cash stuff, Purdy probably one of the best options at quarterback this week. CMC one of the best spend ups at running back this week. Wide receiver nothing, tight end nothing. Jets basically a cross off outside of Brees Hall. I think Brees Hall is pretty strong. Hard to argue the usage he's getting right now. Still too cheap in my opinion. So like Brees, wide receiver, I think Garrett Wilson's very, very safe. 12, 13, 13, 14 targets. Past 4 weeks, like him quite a bit. Tight end, nothing. As far as stacks go, nothing. Cash games, I think Brees Hall solid. I think Garrett Wilson is playable. Buffalo, really, really tough spot. I mean, it's Josh Allen, but really tough spot. Hard time getting to anyone on Buffalo. James Cook, no. Diggs, really, really tough spot. Hard to go there at that price point. There's just not much here. And last game of the week, guys. Geno doubles, they're always in play for me. Metcalf, Lockett, don't love the price points. They're just fine. And then JSN, I think is priced about right. Tight ends just disgusting. Ken Walker, don't like the spot. Hard to go there. Pretty unappealing. Cash stuff, nothing. Rams, unappealing as well. Henderson, I guess, is fine. Cooper Cup, I think, is too cheap, so I like Cup. And then tight end, there's nothing. Cash stuff, I think Cooper Cup is always fine. And then there's nothing else there. So that's going to wrap it up for the video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully I helped you guys out, and I will talk to you all in the next one.